such a time as this.
And welcome back to For Such a Time as This, the place where there is no such thing as a silent witness. Would like to encourage you to go to our website, for such a time as this .today, for such a time as this .today. It is there. It is there. You can see all of our content. We encourage people to go there, look at our content on the web page, because it boosts us up in the Google searches. It's fine if you want to look at it on the YouTube, but we'd much rather you watch it on the web page, our website. There you can also sign up for our email list. All right. For Such a Time as This is in fact a ministry of New Hope Community Church. And at New Hope Community Church, we believe in discipleship. And I was in discipleship this last week in this discipleship group that I run. And I read a familiar passage we all know. And in discipleship, we read the scriptures, and then the question is, how do we apply the truth of the scriptures to our lives? And so we ran across a famous passage in John 10. We'll get to it. John 10, 4 and 5. It's the whole section, but I'll highlight here 10, 4 and 5. And the question is, can good Christians continue to attend bad churches? We all have been at a church, most of us. If you were blessed to be in the church that you grew up in as a Christian, meaning is you did not have to switch churches, God bless you. Very, very few people like that I know. Matter of fact, I don't know anybody that was saved in one church and continued to be in that one church because it was good. But if you were, bless you. But here's the thing: most of us have experienced this. We get to a church, we recognize, something's not right, and we are forced to leave the church to find another church that is more in line with the Bible, with scriptures. And when we do that, we oftentimes leave friends in those churches, right? We leave friends and loved ones, those who've become like family, we leave in the church we left. And then the question becomes this, or we contemplate this. Well, we have good friends who are good people in those churches. No, they're solid believers. They know the Lord. They love the Lord. But they're just in a bad church. Or we know mega churches who've had pastors with mega problems, forced to leave because of sexual sins or inappropriate behaviors. We leave that church and we leave behind a lot of good friends. Right? And so look at the verse here. We're just going to highlight two of them here. But go back, I encourage you, go back and read John 10. She's talking about the Good Shepherd. But look at 10:4. When talking about the sheep, Jesus using an analogy about himself. When he has brought out all his own, he goes before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. Sheep follow their shepherd. The sheep follow the shepherd because they know his voice. Verse 5, a stranger they will not follow. But they will not only not follow him, they will flee from him. For they do not know the voice of strangers. Verse 5 again, a stranger they will not follow, but they will flee from him. For they do not know the voice of strangers. Begs the question, can a true believer follow those who are heretical? Because we oftentimes we struggle with, we think we know people, we love people, we went to church with them for years, But whatever drove you away from the church didn't drive them away from the church. Now, I'm not talking about churches you leave because of polity disagreements, although those can be very important. Leadership, excommunicating people inappropriately. That doesn't cut to the heart of the gospel. That's a polity problem. That's a behavioral problem, not necessarily heretical teachings going forth. But you've got a lot of churches do a lot of bad things. And we have friends and churches we consider not so good. The question becomes, how far do we take John 10, when he has brought out all his own, he goes before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. A stranger they will not follow. A true believer will not follow someone heretical. That, I believe, is clear. And we've talked just recently about some other heretics, Stephen Furtick, other people, T.D. Jakes, and you have other people who are clearly heretical, and then you have other people, a little more difficult, who may not be heretical in their teachings, but their behavior. In their behavior, they've denied the truth of the gospel, and everybody knows it at the church, right? A stranger they will not follow, but they will flee from him, for they do not know the voice of strangers. Look, there's a song, The Voice of Truth. I love that song. The voice of truth tells me a different story. Voice of truth tells me, do not be afraid, right? It's that voice of truth that is the Holy Spirit. And I think John 10 is saying that if the Holy Spirit is leading you and guiding you, and you are accustomed to listening to the voice of truth, then you will not listen to a man who is preaching heresy, the voice of lies, the voice of half-truths. Not only will you not listen, you will flee because you recognize that's not the voice of truth. And so those who are contemplating, should you stay in a church because some of the teaching is heretical? Here's my theory. If you have to even ask that question, whether or not the pastors or those who are preaching at the church, if you have to ask the question whether or not they're heretical, it's time for you to go. That's just me. That's been my philosophy. But anyway, those who are truly following the Lord will not stay in heretical churches. Why? Because they will flee from the voice of strangers.
For such a time as this,